Mickey's Field Trip to the Police Station is so great. This was released in 1987, and we have Wayne Allwyn as the voice of Mickey Mouse. And I love this for two reasons. The first is that I love anything that's behind the scenes of police operations. And I also love it because it's quite fun to see what things were like in the 80s and what equipment looked like back then. So it's definitely very different in some ways, but in general, the way the police operate doesn't change that much over time. And it starts off with two children talking about Mickey Mouse and the police, and how one of the kids went to visit a police station with Mickey, and then the majority of the rest of the 10-minute film is Mickey and this child exploring the police station and a few other things, and I'll talk about those in a moment. I don't know who played the boy or the girl in this because IMDb has no more information. If you do know, please feel free to let me know. And there will be a few spoilers as I talk very briefly about the things that we see in this. And it starts off at the police station, and it's very well edited. We don't just have clips of Mickey and the boy in the station. We also have other clips edited in there to make things flow a little bit better and to allow us to see a few more things. I think the editing is very well done. And then they go in a patrol car. Seeing Mickey in a patrol car is pretty good fun, and they end up, well, I was going to say they end up chasing a driver who's run through a stop sign. It's not so much of a chase. It stops pretty quickly. And then we see the officer talking to this guy, and it's very awkward and obviously staged, but obviously very well done. And then the police officer talks a little bit about his role and explains that there are different kinds of officers, and explains very briefly the structure that the police work within. And it's really interesting, and I loved seeing close-ups of the equipment they used in the 80s. And I don't think I'd ever seen a police radio from the 80s before. It is huge. Compared to the small things they carry around now, it is very large. I don't know, and if anybody knows this, please feel free to tell me, but I don't know if they carry around more equipment now or less equipment now, because I imagine the equipment now is, well, smaller, such as with the radio, but it wouldn't surprise me if they actually carry more now, so it's actually heavier, even though things are smaller. It might also be different in the UK and the States. This is, of course, the police in the States, but I found it to be very fascinating and really interesting, and it definitely made the police seem like they're there to help, like they're there to be your friend and be there if you're in need and if you're in a dangerous situation, because obviously the police often get a bad reputation, and some children are completely anti-police from a very young age. But this helps to show that actually, if you're in danger, then they can be there to help. Obviously, it doesn't go into anything too gritty and dark. It is quite light, and doesn't exactly talk about murders or anything. But for young viewers watching it, it can help to show a little bit about what it might be like to be a police officer and the equipment that they use. And yes, it is a little bit dated because it was the 80s and things are a little different now, but as I said, not too different. And I really enjoyed it. If you like behind the scenes of police work, then it's worth watching. And also from that little historical perspective of what things used to be like versus now, it's good fun to watch. And seeing Mickey in the patrol car just really entertained me. If you're a fan of Mickey's Field Trips as well and you haven't seen this one, I absolutely recommend it. It's got a nice narrative structure, it's very well edited, very informative, and really good fun as well. Definitely something that I enjoyed and absolutely recommend.